Select into is one of those Transact SQL functionalities that you're going to like. It's almost like a secret weapon, especially for a database programmer. So when you're out there coding in SQL and you're trying to make some magic happen with a table, select into allows you to create a new table. And this is going to go into the default file group if you know what that is. If you don't worry about it. But you can use select into to create a new table, and it'll insert the resulting rows from whatever query you're executing into this new table. In other words, it takes the result set of your query, creates a new table identical to the one you're querying out of, and then you can use that to run tests or whatever you want to do. So again, note it creates a new table. Watch those two words there, a new table, based on the columns included in your select column. So you're kind of doing a select and an insert both at the same time and creating a new table. The best way to understand that is let's jump out into the Management Studio, kick off a new query, and notice we're going to connect to AdventureWorks 2012 database right up here. And the first thing let's do, let's select from sales.sales territory and just kind of look at the table that we're going to base this on. So notice this is the one that we've used like with our group by example and so forth. And there's a couple of things that I want to use this one to show you. And also keep in mind there is an example of this, just like most of these code examples. They're out there in your working files folder, so go check on them. What I want to do here is I want to select some of the columns from this table for what I want to use. Now notice I'm going to select the name column. Notice here's the name column. We'll do country region code right here. We'll do group right here, and we'll have to have a little talk about that one. And then sales year to date. So we'll grab those. So I'm going to grab name, then I'm going to do country, region code, then I'm going to do group. I'm not going to put spaces in there. And then I'll do sales YTD, sales year to date. And then we'll come from sales.sales territory. Okay, now notice I've got little red squiggly lines everywhere, and it just doesn't like what it sees. But notice one of my column names is in blue. And notice it's reporting incorrect syntax. Now, even if I try to run this, it's going to throw an error and it says incorrect syntax near the keyword group. Keyword, that's a column name. Well, let me tell you what's happened here. Whoever designed this table used a reserved SQL keyword as a column name. Now, that's really a no-no, and you shouldn't do that. But just like you see here in Microsoft's example database, it happens to the best of us sometimes, okay? So how do we deal with that? Well, if we put square brackets around that, that will tell SQL Server, hey, treat this as an object name, in this case a column name, and not as the reserved keyword. Notice those two words there, reserved keyword. That means don't use it, okay? But again, it does happen, so just notice that. Now notice all my little red squiggly lines went away, and now I can execute. So that's what I want to put in my table because I want to run some query tests on this. And I want to make sure that I don't damage my original table. So let's convert this into a select into. So I'm just going to copy it, save a little time. We'll come right down here and paste it in. So notice what I'm going to do. Select name, country, region code, group, sales year to date. And then what I'm going to do is put into sales test table. Now, into is telling it, take all these columns up here that I'm selecting, put them into a new table that does not exist right now. The sales test table does not exist, and pull all of that information from the sales.sales territory. Now, I could add where clauses or whatever if I wanted to, but notice when I execute this, it comes back and says 10 rows affected. Well, I don't see anything here. Let me go over here and refresh in the object browser. And then notice right here is the sales test table. Now, if I come down here and do a select asterisk from sales test table, you see it's already out there. It recognizes it. And I will highlight that. And there is my data. It looks and feels just like the original table. Now, you can overuse this, but anytime you're going to be doing some code testing or you don't want to mess with a production table, you can build this. Notice to delete it, I could use a drop table, or I can right click on it in the object browser, come down to delete and make sure I'm highlighted here and just say OK, and that will delete that table right back out of the database. But select into is a great way to get yourself a quick copy of a table so that you can practice on it, and then you can convert your query or store procedure, whatever, back toward the production table. But this is a cool way to work. You'll use this a lot. Keep this in mind. Put it out there in your programmer toolkit. Select into.